Meeting to order, and we'll start with roll call. Jess?
Rice,
Here.
Longstreet, McCaffrey, Belknap,
Present.
Bush,
Here.
Greenlee, Hill, Allison Miedema,
Here.
Jim Miedema, Sachs.
Here.
Great. So, yep, Bruce let us know when he was going to be out of the country this month, and Lucas just texted me and unfortunately came down with something. So we appreciate him keeping his distance during cold and flu season right before the holidays. So, all right. Let's see, additions and deletions to the agenda. I don't think we have any. We might have a little bit of a special presentation during the community engagement report, but it won't necessarily be an addition. So we will move on to the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. I think we had a couple corrections with this, but everyone should have the yellow copy in front of you that encompasses all of the corrections, I believe. So do we have a motion to go ahead and approve the minutes?
So move.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks,
Bush.
Joe. All right, Jane and Joe. Any questions, further edits, comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, minutes are approved. We don't have any communications this month, so we will open up to our first segment of public comment. We do have some folks in the audience today. Welcome. For those of you out there, if anyone would like to speak, make sure, I guess if you do, raise your hand, just observing today. If so, Jess should have some slips for you to fill out. But if you would like to comment during the second public comment period, go ahead and fill out one of those cards, and then we'll get you another opportunity later in the meeting. So, all right, we'll just keep moving. Those of you online who are listening, you are always feel free to submit written comments, public comments for the commission to review. That address should be right there in the description on the video. So go ahead and feel free to submit any comments you have in writing at any point during the month as well. All right, we will start with staff reports and the director's report. Jason?
So just a couple things to highlight today. We continue to work on the Grand River Greenway Coastal Corridor plan. So that ties into Harbor Island. So the Elgro is leading right now an initiative to evaluate landscape level conservation. And they're working on a RFP to solicit proposals for a consultant to pull together all the information that they've solicited and start to build the framework of a final plan. So we're participating, giving some input on that RFP. I attached in the packet the presentation that McKenna Group did for Port Sheldon Township. So that is a focus area of the J.H. Campbell plant. So we had some draft renderings in a previous package. So this was the full presentation. There is an open house for Port Sheldon Township, December 12th. I don't know the time yet, but where they will present, I think, a revised plan. So we're looking forward to that. And happy to answer any questions
Great.
if there are any.
Anybody have anything for Jason?
I do.
Oh, go ahead.
So Jason, a new staff person is coming on Monday, is that correct?
Yep. Yes,
Do we have? Are you
November 25th.
Are you going to say anything about her? Have you said, and did I miss anything? I just wondered.
I'm sorry. Her name is Jenny Anderson. So she comes with extensive public background experience, worked as a county clerk for over a decade in Arizona.
Okay.
So
Has staff met her yet or anything like that? Or she been
the
around?
folks who are on the interview committee, she did come in one day last week, but I think Aaron was the only one in the office that day besides myself.
Cool.
So
Exciting.
yeah.
Great. Anybody else? All right, we will keep rolling with the parks operation report. Jason?
All right. Staff has spent a lot of time over the past month continuing to work on getting Ottawa Sands, especially the Item Explorers Camp, ready. And that's taken up quite a bit of time, but a lot of other stuff going on as well. One of the cool new things is we've over the years we've at Upper Mac and a few other parks, Connor Bayou and Eastonville Bayou. There's been issues where we've not been able to upkeep trails in the spring season when they're a little wet. Obviously, when they're underwater, there's nothing we can do. But the season where we can't maintain them extends quite a bit longer because of the heavy equipment we have to get on them and the fact that it would rut them up and make them worse. So we recently purchased a walk behind bush hog, a much lighter piece of equipment that can go over small bridges and get into areas that are, wet but not necessarily underwater. And so we've been working on reestablishing some of those trails and look forward to this spring being able to get on them a lot earlier than we have in years past and get them looking nice for people to walk sooner. So I've been playing around with that a little bit. In addition, you see from the one picture, the Port Sheldon Township's Cal Park, their steps got undermined by some high water, some storms last month. And so those steps were closed off. I haven't been out there this week, so I don't think they're fixed yet. But Port Sheldon Township has hired a contractor to fix those steps. So that should be definitely good to go before next spring. And then any other questions you guys have, I'd be happy to answer.
Great. Anything for Jason?
I'm on a roll today, sorry. This is what I have when I have too much time to read. I'm curious how you're feeling about to be a hotel manager. I guess what I'm trying to figure out how you're feeling about that, if we're prepared for it, if you feel confident, if anything that concerns you that we ought to be aware of, or that maybe
Well,
some.
each time we're out there, Jeremy and I going through the details, like we were just out there doing the walkthrough of the HVAC system yesterday morning with the HVAC contractor. We think of little things that we've forgotten, because we're not hotel managers. And then I order them again on Amazon, and we're good to go. So there will be little things that after we open up that we're like, oh, well, yeah, we forgot that. I can guarantee you that. But I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. I mean, we've met with other parks that run similar facilities. We've talked to them, and we've really, I think, got most of it covered. That being said, when our new coordinator position comes on, the visitor services position, hopefully whoever ends up getting hired for that might bring some experience with them that the rest of us don't have.
Cool. Thanks.
Linda, that's like asking a woman about going to go into labor. Are you ready for this?
Husband that question first, but I just,
You can't go back.
if there's
Yeah,
anything
that's right.
we can help with.
It's there's always little things that pop up. I mean, we were in the planning meeting for the reservation system yesterday with Rec Track, and come to find out that the cancellation policy that we wrote and that you all approved is not programmable in that system. You can't make it work. So I'll be reworking that. So you never know when somebody's going to throw a monkey wrench in the system.
As long as you're feeling good about it, I'm okay with it.
I was quite frustrated in that meeting when I found that out yesterday.
Anyone else? All right, thanks, Jason. We will move on to planning and development report. Kurt?
Sure. I would say what's going on now, obviously construction is winding down, other than the mad rush to get our Stearns Bayou Bridge and Trail done. And that's actually been going pretty well. They were supposed to do the last bit of paving today, actually. So the path will be done. If you've driven past, they've poured the deck of the bridge is done, and they're doing now the little walls and stuff that go along it. So, so we look looking good there. We are looking forward to December when we find out about a couple of grants. So we're thinking about that. And a lot of planning for next year going on already. So, but any other questions? Happy to answer them.
Is that mid-December? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
lot
a
of-
little, usually like the 10th, the 12th,
Yeah,
somewhere in
right in
there. I
there.
don't know the exact date.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking, but okay.
Yep.
Great. Any questions for Kurt?
Come on, Linda, give me
Yeah.
one.
Do you want
Can't
to,
stop now.
you want to take this time and talk about kind of where we are in the Rosie Mound Master Plan process?
Sure. So you know that we had our public meeting, it's been 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago. So we got input from that. We also had this online survey going that's closing tomorrow, but we have now, I think, 1,100 responses, which is quite a bit to go through, actually. So we're doing that. So staff is, our managers are meeting next week, going to talk a little bit about it. Then we're going to talk to our consultant. And we're headed for the planning committee to give an update on where we are with things. But then we are planning on December 18, the next meeting here, to present what we think would be a good plan to go forward. And if we can't approve it, then we'll still have another chance to make any adjustments and go for January. So that's where we are. Yeah, it's been.
Sounds great. Is that what the consultant is kind of are they responsible for consolidating the comments kind of into some common
right.
themes
They
or-
did from the meeting.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're going to do some with this thing. I'm going through it piece by piece too, but it literally is, there's 1,000 and they have a chance to put comments under
Mhm.
all the, well, if you did it, multiple questions. So there's
Right.
several thousand comments to go through. I mean, there's themes. So we're looking for themes, right? I look at it like this. You're looking for themes. What are kind of the big things that people are interested in? I think that's pretty clear, at least the people who took the survey are for a minimalist approach. But then we're also looking for, okay, did someone just bring an idea that we didn't really think of? So those kind of things. And then a lot of times it's a little detail, you know, I'd really like to see this little thing there. Oh, it's a bottle filler or something like that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll get that too. So very interesting. But yeah, we'll present all of that stuff to you in at least summary form. Unless you want to read all the comments, I'm happy to send it to you if you're interested.
Summary's great.
The summary is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
So yes, December 18, our next meeting will present a preliminary preferred plan, I think I would call it. Yep.
Great. Any other questions for Kurt? All right, we'll keep rolling with the community engagement report. Jess?
All right. So what I want to point out in my report is there's some new numbers, and what this is indicative of is we are working on bringing Carly, our volunteer supervisor, under the fold of community engagement. So working through how are we reporting volunteer numbers? How do we report student numbers for service-based learning, and kind of making our way through that. So this might keep evolving as we go. And then just a couple of highlights. We've had, or mostly through our school program season, we had a really good debrief today with our educators, just about how can we improve, what things we need to do to prep for spring, because we are looking at a very busy spring. And then I wanted to just note that we've had a few new types of programs come under the fold in the last year or so. Our Family Nature Day and our Family Fall Fest. Those have been really, really popular and a lot of fun. And it's been really cool to see a lot of new faces. Because as we've talked about a lot as community engagement, working really hard to cast a little bit of a wider net and bring some new folks into the fold. So with that, I would also like to introduce a new employee with community engagement, which is Tabitha Corlett. And she's going to come up and talk a little bit about her role and what she's been working on. And yeah, come on up to the
Great.
mic and
Cool.
introduce
Welcome,
yourself.
Tabitha.
So.
I've met some of you at special events, and I look forward to getting to know everyone. Yeah, my name's Tabitha. I'm the new outdoor program lead for recreation and wellness. I am a nurse in background. I have a title of holistic nursing, and how that ties into community engagement for me is I have a lot of passion around community wellness through recreation, through nature's medicine, and oh my gosh, the accessibility that I'm seeing speaks to my heart so much. Jessica knows all about it, so is Jason. But yeah, so just looking forward to bringing more event wellness, recreation wellness. What am I missing here? Does that sound good and fair? I just love it. It's my
Yeah.
passion. I'm happy to be here.
We've learned very quickly that Tabitha knows everyone, it seems like. So, which is really working out in our benefit. And you'll notice in the winter newsletter, there is a whole slew of new programming. And we're going to be working with a lot of external contractors that she knows through her many different hobbies and interests. And I'm really
nice.
excited to, just bring a whole swath of new stuff to the docket.
Can
The
you-
joke in the office is I'm like the new George for rec and wellness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give us like a
Teaser for a new program that's coming?
So Curtis is birding. I'm mushroom lady, and I have a state certification for wild mushroom foraging. That doesn't mean we're gonna be taking them out of the parks, but I'm, so that, those type of topics, we're doing sauna at the parks, supporting small local businesses that have interest in holding those wellness events, right? And connecting with those, they're really community educators in their small business, and they are so excited that Ottawa is opening up to just allow people to work with them, right? Support their small business. And yes, what we're finding out is that especially when we're talking like the wellness world in West Michigan, wildly connected because I've been doing it for a long time and I just love it anyway. So what's another good one I should bring up?
It's worth mentioning that actually the contractor that did a proposal to have a sauna set up at North Beach Park, at kind of a month or so later, Tabitha brought that as a potential program for us with a different contractor. And we're like, oh man, what a unique situation. All of a sudden we have multiple vendors kind of interested in this similar topic. So through our connections, we were able to get the two vendors to work together. So they're actually going to both be able to work together to do some programming at Ottawa Sands, which I think is just a benefit for everybody. So someone we told no to, we're bringing into the fold in another way. And it's been good all around.
It's been an amazing opportunity because that, if you don't know what mobile sauna is, they literally have mobile saunas that they bring to events and they can do the very traditional wellness practice of hot cold therapy. And the mobile sauna business is expanding, and that community loves working together in collaboration, not competing against each other. So that made it so like such a blessing, I think, to just like be able to bring that in for both practitioners, right?
Yeah, cool. I think we should have a mushroom mug contest.
Yeah, mushroom.
Mug
Ooh.
contest.
Ooh, that's a
See?
good idea, Linda.
I love
That's a
it.
good idea.
I think we should have a foraging dinner.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Good. All right. Anyone have questions for Tabitha or Jess? Sorry, that's okay. That's all right if anyone says anything. No, thank you for coming though. It was wonderful to meet you. All right. Okay, we'll keep going then to, let's see, Neely is not here, I guess.
She's on her way, so.
Okay, so we can bump that back, maybe a little bit in the agenda and circle back with Neely.
Fire looks good.
The what?
They did
Oh,
fire.
the
they were
prescribed
firing.
burn? Yeah. Let her give us. Okay, Glenn, are you ready for the
I'm here.
development
I'm ready.
report?
I
There,
apologize-
all right, we'll go on with
apologize
you
for being
first.
late. I was working on a proposal and lost track of time.
That's okay.
So we had a good month in October. You can see that we improved in terms of our gift count from last year. And our trend, our long-term trend in gift count is for the year to date continues to be high. So, I mean, we are a growing fundraising program here at Parks. Our average donations continues to ride, with the one exception being the fact, as I pointed out previously, that in 2022 we got a big gift early in the year, which kind of skewed all of our numbers. But we more than doubled our average gift for last year, for October of 2023. And as a percent of our annual goal, we continue to go up. We raised nearly 10% of our annual goal in last October, which puts us over goal for the month. I'm sorry, for the year. Ottawa Sands, I think Kurt has already indicated that that project's nearly complete. They're just working on the punch list right now. And Kurt also gave a report, I think, on the feedback that we've had from the open house that occurred last week. I've been able to go out and visit with some of the people that attended the open house, and you know, there does seem to be a bias for less improvement out there than more, but we'll be pouring through all the surveys to get a more detailed sense of their people's interests. So I'll take any questions if there are any.
Anything for Glenn? All right, thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
All right, the strategic plan, is there any updating with that anymore, Jason, or are we wrapping that up for?
Keep it,
putting it on the-
we're working internally with staff. I think the notable update, so next week, or well, it's the first week of December, at the Finance Committee, the new and reorganized positions will be going to the Finance Committee of the board in December, I think December 3rd. So.
Okay. All right, any questions for Jason? All right, we will keep moving then on to committee reports. Start off with the executive committee. We met, gosh, I guess that was a little over a week ago here. Went through a few things, the finance and policy agenda, today's Parks Commission agenda. Talked a little bit about 2025 upcoming meetings and rhythms and that kind of thing, dates, and we'll have to tackle that in the next couple months here, moving into 2025. We talked about the admin hiring, got an update on that, and talked just a little bit on staff reports and formatting and kind of going back to what Jason said, everybody working together internally to come up with reports for the commission packet and weave in the strategic planning elements that you guys have all come up with in the different departments. So any questions on the executive committee? All right, we will keep going with the planning committee. Oh, Lucas isn't here. So I guess as the co-chair, if you have any questions, I'm trying to think if there's anything in preparing. We talked about Rosie Mound. It's been great. Kurtz and the consultant have been really excellent with interfacing with the planning committee and going over the status of the Rosie Mound master plan. And Kurt already talked about that. Just a lot of moving parts with the Allendale segment of the Item Explorers Trail, which the summary is really great in the minutes. So I think I'll just leave that as is. Yeah, is there anything else you think is worth highlighting there, Kurt? Oh, maybe the Pigeon River, that's a little bit new, but maybe Neely can touch on that when she comes back with the monitoring, looking to do some baseline monitoring there as the plant closes.
Yeah, and there's an item later in the agenda about the coastal management grant opportunities, which we discussed. So.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I guess I'll just leave it at that unless anyone, or Paul or Joe, if you have anything to add from the meeting. But
Not necessarily. I think
No.
Neely can probably hit on the
Yeah.
watershed stuff when she gets here.
yeah, we'll have to make sure she talks about that a little bit. Okay, we will keep going with the Finance and Policy Committee update. Linda?
So we really don't have a lot of finance right now since the fiscal year just started, and the fiscal last year won't close out till substantially later in the coming months. Brandy had a handle on that. We did talk about the Rhea and Alma Statema fund. We have an education fund through them that the Grand Haven Area Community Foundation keeps. It doesn't have a ton of money in it, and we've recommended that we keep that money and just roll it over. And I think it was like $709 that we're going to roll over and decide what we're going to use that for. But it's for education, and so Jessica's clear that they have access to it. You're going to see a new snowplow contract later in the meeting. You're going to, the staff has recommended that we join the assessment district after lots of conversations. I think at every committee, we've decided the risk is minimal and that we're going to recommend that we go forward with that. There's going to be a parking, is there a motion for, I didn't notice, for the parking utilization issue down at
So we'll send
Historic-
that on to the
corporate
property
council?
owners
Yeah, yeah.
and let them,
So there's a house being moved down at the historic Ottawa Beach and there's parking and it was an interesting discussion. And then you see the last is a memorandum of understanding and it's that one piece of property that Grand Haven has. It doesn't really get used, but it's on the other side of, it's south of Ottawa Sands and north of the Kitchell. So we're going to help manage that formally, informally, sort of, for a while. That was pretty much it. It was kind of a short meeting. I may hold the record for the shortest finance meeting. I think we were done maybe in 35 minutes. I'm not saying, but
Not that you had a stopwatch running or
nothing that, no. I wanted to get to dinner. No, that's all right. We didn't have a lot of the weedy stuff.
Questions for Linda? All righty. Okay. Oh, we have the foundation update. Jane.
Yeah, foundation hasn't met since we've met, but work continues. And one of the things that I want to point out, which most of you know already, is that the foundation really does a very good job of staying in touch with donors. And so it's time to send out the Thanksgiving cards to donors and prospective donors. I believe those cards are going out tomorrow or today. And the end of year appeal letter, which is a annual outreach, those letters have gone out and are already yielding some results. So donations are coming in, but yeah, the foundation is very intentional about having lots of touch points with donors. So this time of year is a good time to maximize on people's generosity. So that's kind of what's happening with the foundation.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Jane? All righty. We don't have any old business today. New business, we do have the first item up there is the rebid for Group 3 on the snow plowing services. So you all remember seeing this last month. But Jason Berger, do you want to give a little, or I don't know, or do you want to, it's pretty self-explanatory. So can we have a motion, a suggested motion before we start talking about it?
I make the motion that we accept Noah's Ark's lawn care as submitted.
Okay, thanks, Linda.
Support?
Thanks, Joe. All right, go ahead, Jason. Thank you.
So we did rebid it and we did receive one additional bid. And the bidder, Countryside Snow Plowing that bid last time, they rebid again. Interestingly enough, they bid a higher amount when they rebid. And so Noah's Ark came in as a low bid. We're very familiar with them. They were our previous contractor, so we're recommending going with them.
Great. And the bid tab is in here. So any questions for Jason on this?
They might have to get started tomorrow.
Colin and I have already talked about that, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that'll be possible. I don't think we'll have a signature on a contract by tomorrow, but
They will?
Colin's prepared to plow if he has to.
Okay.
Right, great. All right, seeing no further questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries.
I do think you should talk to that other company at some time and explain the concept of negotiation to them. Just a thought.
Jason mentioned they could bid higher.
Mhm.
They did.
It makes sense business-wise. They're like, oh, nobody else bid.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
We said no to the last one,
Right.
so.
Mhm.
Good
All
gamble.
right.
Yeah, I mean, it was a gamble. I mean, if they had been the only bidder
Mhm.
again, then
Yep.
it might have been a gamble that paid off.
Mhm. Makes sense. All right, we'll keep moving on to item 11B, which is the Rosie Mound Coastal Management Grant application. And this is just recommending application for funding assistance for design and engineering at Rosie Mound. And this has been through planning. So is there anyone who would be wanting to make the motion?
So move.
And
Okay.
second?
Okay, thanks, Jane and Allison. All right, Kurt, do you want to give just a little updates for those who aren't quite as familiar with this?
Sure. So it went through planning, but not totally. So this
Yeah.
is a grant program that we've used numerous times in the past. And a few years ago, we used it a lot of times for boardwalk and deck projects in the dunes. It was good for that. It's coastal zone, so there's only a certain narrow band where you can apply for these funds. And we were very successful at that. More recently, we have not been very successful in getting funds to actually build anything, but we have been successful in getting funds to help us plan and design and engineer things. We've done, the Ottawa Sands Master Plan was done through this project.
Mhm.
Trying to think another one that's more recently. So we think we have a much better chance of getting funds if we're doing a planning project. So we're originally thinking, oh, maybe we ought to do something more at Ottawa Sands. We've got a lot of momentum there. But when we were looking at the projects, they're going, we don't have a project that's very well defined exactly what we want to do. Where do we have a project that's very well defined? Well, Rosie Mound is very well defined already. Glenn has been promoting a phase 1 project that would really get the access we want. So it's something we really want to do, we're going to do. So why not apply for that? That will just help in the overall funding for this project. And so that's what we're recommending. It's a 50-50 match. So we're saying we think maybe $100,000 would be enough to do almost everything we want. We would pay $50,000 that we already are fundraising for, and hopefully get another $50,000 for the project. So made sense to us. Hope it makes sense to you.
Any questions or comments? for Kurt? All right, we'll just go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And last item on our agenda here is the Grand Haven Area Convention and Visitors Bureau Agreement to join the assessment district. And I believe that has been through like most committees, but most recently finance and policy this month. So do we have anyone who would like to make the suggested motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thanks, Linda. Do we have a second?
I'll support.
Okay, thank you, Jane. All right, Jess, did you want to take this? We have a little bit more supporting information kind of to share with some of the commission, or all of the commission, I should say.
Yeah, sure. As Linda mentioned, we've had a lot of discussion about this. I really like the idea of joining this assessment district, just because it's taking advantage of a local resource at a very low price. So the assessment in Grand Haven is 2% that gets applied to the room charge. So what this would do is allow this organization who really, like, their whole reason of existence is promoting tourism regionally, nationally, and that's something that we don't do as well. And it moves that, it reorganizes the fee for that to the folks who are utilizing that resource versus spending taxpayer money on it. Now, granted, there was conversation about advertising money being used like through revenue of the camp, but this will allow any of that revenue to go back into paying for stuff at the camp or at Ottawa Sands. So it feels like a win for us. I did include, if you kind of scroll down in the packet, some metrics just to give an idea of kind of the things that we're looking at from a marketing standpoint versus the Grand Haven Visitors Bureau. You can tell looking at that, they're looking at, really reviewing things from a much higher level, whereas we're really focused in on our community and very, very local. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Another thing that is worth mentioning, we would have a seat, the option to join their board as well. I'm really excited about that opportunity. you kind of hear about things. A lot of what they're funded through, in addition to the assessment, is like access to state funding as well. And that was how so much of the Pure Michigan campaign money was, funneled through, was via Visitors Bureau. So it just seems like a really good opportunity and very low risk.
Well, I think I can tell you at the finance and policy meeting, your metric sheet was, I think, the thing that made everybody go, whoa. And in particular, the fact that we only have 3 Pinterest followers and they had 1,500. That did make a note. We did notice, but the others were a much bigger deal. Like the total page views was really, I mean, just, yeah.
Yeah, Riley helped pull a lot of the metrics together, and she was like, we don't track this. And I'm like, well, that actually, tells part of that story, right? That's just not where our focus is. So
I think that was great. That was a great metric.
Yeah.
Great piece of
Yeah, I
information.
agree. Sure, good. Did anybody have questions for Jess or any of the committees? All right, we'll go ahead and put it to a vote then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. Great. Okay, we are coming up on the second option or opportunity for public comment. Does anyone in the audience care to fill out a card and make public comment? No? Okay. This is a very quick meeting, so I feel like you in the audience got a little gypped today. so. All right, we'll go ahead, I guess. Was Neely coming from somewhere in the county? Or was she-
She was coming from the north end, so I'm not sure
Okay.
if she had been at a training, so.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's fine. Well, we'll go around while you're reaching out just to see if we can give her one more opportunity with Commissioner's prerogative. So we'll start over there with you, Paul.
None from me. Thanks.
Okay, Roger? Okay, Jane?
Well, I kind of wanted Neely to be here when I said this, but so I'm a very fair weather volunteer on Friday mornings with the stewardship group and Tyler and Neely. But this last Friday I did it. We were going to harvest seeds. It was too wet. So we sorted seeds instead, which was fun and educational. But one of the really nice things about it was I was wondering about some gifts that I need to give. And I'm like, Neely, where can I get some wildflower seeds or wild grasses seeds to give as gifts? And so amongst the whole group, there were several suggestions. And so it panned out. I got my seeds for my gifts, and it was fun and educational, and it benefited me personally. So it's more than just learning about the natural environment. You pick up some shopping tips too once in a while. But it was really a nice morning. So, and it was indoors, which was also nice. So we did have two people who really wanted to cut, and whatever they do with the stumps. And so they did that, and we sat inside. It was quite pleasant.
Nice. Good ideas. I was just going to mention, just because I had a meeting out this morning, but are helping out with Friends, the Lights at Night. It seems like that's getting a lot of traction and so there's going to be opportunities if anybody wants to volunteer. I think Jess and her team's going to be sending out an email on volunteer solicitation, but it's sounding like it's going to be very cool. So, but the lights are on at Pigeon now, at the regular lights, and then for the Lights at Night, it'll be December 1st through the 14th. So that's always a fun time to get out in the woods. Hopefully we'll get some snow and add to the festivities. But
If you run into Mark Southwall anywhere, he strung all of the lights as a
wow.
volunteer. So
Yeah,
volunteer extraordinaire.
awesome. Yeah, by
So
himself.
thank him
didn't
for
he?
being so
Yeah.
Christmassy. Holiday.
Exactly. Yeah, very good. Linda?
No.
Okay, Joe?
I do not.
All right, Allison?
Not today.
Okay, Jim? No? All right. Oh, man, Neely. She had some good stuff in her report.
We can go back
Well,
to
I
it.
mean, before, there is, I think it's kind of, because it went with the planning report too. I think it's worth calling out. And Joe, you might want to chime in on it too, is just the pigeon Oh no, I have to go back and find it. Um, I mean, it was
The
kind of
watershed, the
new
Pigeon River.
information, but it was, doing some, kind of being a lead, I think in the strategic planning, we talked a lot about being, leads and technical leads in the community on different environmental issues and stuff. And just looking at the changes that can potentially come, not just associated with the Campbell plant, but the Pigeon River in general watershed is starting to do some more monitoring out there. The conservation district's already doing it along with some other groups. And kind of taking a lead out there and getting some good baseline data too, even in the next year, kind of making that a priority. So we have some baseline data, what that watershed looks like before, the pumps are turned off at the plant and the closure starts. And Joe, I know you're pretty involved with this too, so is there
Right, right.
anything
And I
else
think
that-
that's, that's the biggest case right now is what's going to happen when the pump shut down. Right now, it's a lot of moving water artificially by pumps, right? I mean, they're actually circulating water. And when that shuts down, what does that do to the watershed for different problems? It could, maybe it'll go back to natural and be fine. We
Mhm.
don't know. I think that's the unknown, right? And I think the
Right.
monitoring of what we can do in the future to see if it's, I think there's been a lot of discussion on this watershed. And Neely has a lot of the info. Oh, look at that.
Hey! You're up, Neely. We're trying to
We were
walk
dragging
through the
it on
Pigeon
for
River.
You thought,
Minutes
you-
later, you wouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to, yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe. Go
No,
ahead.
that's fine.
It's,
She's, Neely's the one that's got a lot of the information for the Pigeon watershed and kind of the direction we might need to go and just get more data.
Yeah, really, I think we're at the phase where we're trying to figure out who knows what and, in the roles that we want to take in the future. I think the conservation district has a lot of good stuff, but I've also been hearing things from there's a Grand Valley professor that said that he's got some older data, which I think will be useful moving
Mhm.
forward for some before and after stuff. But yeah, the conservation district for sure.
So will the county, will Neely and you and the conservation district, will you actually be doing some of the analysis so that we know? Yours is kind of unbiased analysis. Yours is like, this is what it is, not maybe from somebody who wants something
Right.
to
Mm.
happen. So
Yeah.
because I don't have a clue how that works.
Yeah, so I'm, and I don't really think that's clear yet. Probably more like a meta analysis of the data that we can get our hands on, and then what we were able to add moving forward.
And I think there's been a lot of data collected with the progressive folks over there who has been doing a lot of the weed treatment. And they have
Oh,
a
yeah.
district
Oh,
already.
in the lake specifically, yeah.
Yep, on the lake specific.
Mhm,
And
PLM.
the conservation is more of the upstream,
Yep.
what's happening,
Right,
what's coming into
right.
it. And then the other part is working with the township, because the township has a lot of information as well, because they've been a part of it for years.
Right.
And working with Outdoor Discovery, because there's some folks there that are involved as well. So there's a big team effort
Yeah.
to put
Also,
into this.
I made the students at the Career Line Tech
Yep.
Center,
Thinking the same
they
thing.
are going to be
Another
doing
one
the
that's-
bathymetric
Yep.
survey of the lake bottom, because that's data that we don't have. So
Mhm.
that's being collaborated, and all that data that's being collected will be assembled into that database that we're building in
Yep.
collaboration with Joe's office.
So we're doing surface monitoring, groundwater monitoring. I mean, Paul and I got a lot of different, a lot of different things moving and shaking right now around on different watersheds, but this is a particular one that,
Yeah, it's
It's
a
gonna
lot
be
of
new.
activity.
yeah, especially new between the decommissioning of the consumer plant.
Yeah. It seems like in the last 5 years, it's really gotten a lot of momentum going in the Pigeon watershed,
Mhm.
Once
as far as-
that watershed management plan was
Right.
created by Ben Jordan, it
Correct.
activated a lot, which was needed.
Mhm.
So is the ODC going to do something like they're doing for Lake Macatawa, which is
I
that
think that's,
operation?
could be.
Project
Okay.
Clarity?
I think,
Yeah,
yeah, but I
Project
think
Clarity.
that's kind of the unknown right now, because we don't have the data to figure that out yet.
Mhm.
But it could be, it could turn into that. And I know to the, Port Sheldon Township's trying to figure out what to do as well. Mike Sabatino was like, well, what do we do? What's the future
Mhm.
look like?
Right, right.
So,
But I think all the data collection is really great, and Neely,
Correct.
it's really great that Parks is involved now too,
Yeah,
to help
absolutely.
just the multifaceted, because it's hard to look at a problem, and say, what are we gonna do without the data, the data and
Absolutely.
analyzing all that, so you're just not doing knee jerk.
And we still do have,
reaction
I know
projects.
Jason's been on this committee and we do have, consumers still a big part of it yet. They haven't decommissioned yet,
Right.
but they pay for a lot of the cost, right? It comes down to cost. Right now, they're paying 50% of a lot of their stuff. Well, that's gonna go away.
Mhm.
And who's gonna pay for it? So we're still working out that detail yet. Negotiating.
And I think that the parks feels, I mean, especially invested in the health of the pigeon, the whole watershed moving forward, particularly because our nature center is on the Pigeon River. We have a couple parks on the Pigeon, and then more in the sub watersheds too. So.
Good, thanks, Neely. Did you want to, we had to kind of skip over the natural
No, that's
resources
totally fine.
management report, but is there anything you want to highlight in there besides the pigeon which we were talking about?
I don't think I have much to add. So I actually just came from an HWA meeting. So a lot of the regional HWA partners, different conservation districts and the DNR. So land managers working with HWA in the area. Just to talk kind of about the experiences that we've had with treatment and in survey in the last couple of years. And if anyone saw in the report, we have been working with the hemlocks, particularly at Rosie. So initially we were not going to treat the hemlocks at Rosie in-house for hemlock woolly adelgid. We'd been talking with the conservation district. They got a landscape scale grant to work on hemlocks in Ottawa County. So they were going to take that chunk from us. But I think just because of the drought conditions of the late summer this year, we were experiencing some pretty dramatic hemlock decline at Rosie Mound. So we did go in with a different chemical and do some treatments at Rosie Mound. So it's dinotefuran, which is a faster acting but not as long lasting insecticide to hopefully save some of the worst and biggest hemlocks, especially on the north side of the property that we found. So the balance of the hemlocks there will be treated next treatment season, so probably starting in June, with imidacloprid, which is the chemical that takes a little bit longer to take effect, but lasts like 5 to 7 years. So
Great. Anything to add on the prescribed burn? That kind of came up a little bit
Oh, did it?
earlier,
Okay.
but we're just. it's all out.
yeah, no, yeah. Yeah,
No
it
more
took a little
smoldering.
bit. I think it took like a week and a half, but which is not it wasn't unexpected. So we've burned several times at Hiawatha. I remember the first time we burned out there, it smoldered for 2 weeks. And we did burn a little portion this year that had never been burned before. It was part of a control plot for a study in the past. So just that pine duff just really hangs onto that fire, and just it's really difficult to put out. So it did go out. The fire went really smoothly. I don't think that we had any undue excitement. So that's good, right? And we had pretty good fire effects. So we'll see what the spring brings, but I thought it went really well. And so did Tyler. So
What was the total acres of that?
let's see, it was about 14.
14, okay.
Yeah. So not huge, but a nice
Impactful.
size. Yeah.
Neely, how do you start the fires?
With drip torches.
Okay.
So usually, so we do burn breaks around the area that we want to burn. So it's basically down to mineral soil so that there's no fuel to carry the fire. And then the lucky person goes along with a drip torch. Everybody wants to ignite, right? So basically it's this torch that kind of drips out a mixture of, usually it's like, everybody uses different mixes. So like diesel and kerosene or whatever mix. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's like throwing fire.
Yeah.
Pretty exhilarating.
It's
fun.
I enjoy it.
Be the drip torture.
Uh-huh.
I was just curious, you didn't want to create a brownfield out of a,
Oh,
you know, because
Mhm.
I'm sure it's reluctant to start at times, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just and we had a contractor this time around, right? But utilize different methods to control the speed of this spread. So usually start with a back burn to make it start really slow, just to make sure it's controlled. But I don't know if these are different chairs or what, but my feet are not touching the ground. Like,
I'm just kidding.
I am. I'm like, I feel like a little kid sitting on a swing or something.
Well, you're doing great. All right. Are there any other questions for Neely on the Natural Resources Management Report? Any questions or anything people wanted to ask about? All right. Well, thank you for getting here, Neely. That was good stuff. And we do not have closed session today,
No.
correct? All right. We don't have anything there. So all I need, oh, go ahead.
In that, so we are scheduled to close on the Rosie Mound expansion. So we're talking about the master plan and other grants, but we haven't actually closed on the property. So December 20th. So it looks like everything's coming together for that. So.
All right. So that being said, all we need is a motion to adjourn. All right. Thanks, Linda. We got a
Second?
Okay, thank you, Allison. All those in favor?
I,
All those opposed, say nay. All right, meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
if you're opposed, you
That
can
was
stay.
fast.
meeting. Yeah.
Fast
Yeah.
meeting.
It was a short meeting. Best to have it for something.
Yep, I've got
Um,
it. I've got it all. I
Right.
actually made a copy of the agenda and filled it in. And so I did a post and,
Right.
Oops, I should end this.
Nope, perfect.
And Jen's in there.
For the
Just asking you about